Hello everybody, Hans Johnson here, and doing a quick live broadcast update on some things. Good to see you guys. Hope you're doing well. It's May 1st, and kind of a important milestone in the latest state of things of the world. The middle of this crazy corona, as I now call it. If you haven't seen my prior videos, you would get a little insight into kind of my take on all that. We'll talk a little bit about that here today. For those of you that I've never met before, I know there's a lot of new people coming into, basically getting familiar with this page and through the book that we just launched, True Wealth Formula. Hold on a second. This is the new book. There's a lot of people that have started receiving the book, which is fantastic. I've just been absolutely blown away at the reviews and the feedback, the emails that we've been getting. Really humbling, actually, for me personally. If you haven't seen the prior videos, we'll do a little recap here. My name's Hans Johnson. I grew up on the Big Island of Hawaii in Kona. Grew up on the streets. Classic, dysfunctional, American family, basically. Grew up as a minority in a very heavy cultural environment. And started my first business at 8 years old. Learned real early on that if I didn't work, I didn't eat. And it was a really great experience. Had to get out there and sell, and basically for school clothes. And the story is actually in the book, which is pretty cool. And was fortunate enough to have a number of experiences in my life. My childhood was very brief. It was pretty wild and crazy in many ways, but got started in business early on and became a CEO of a multi-million-dollar corporation. I'm kind of speeding things up here a little bit, but this book is over 2 decades of how to master money, live free, and build a legacy. And it really, for me, has been a quest. This brand, True Wealth Formula, is something that I've been sharing with others now since the early 2000s. First registered that domain name in, I believe, 2000. Didn't renew it in 01, and then renewed it again in 2002 or something like that, around that time frame. And partly because, and I was always attracted to that, the idea of what is true wealth. Growing up in poverty, growing up on the streets, and not even having money for school clothes or food or anything like that, and then seeing other kids, other families living in nice neighborhoods, nice houses, having cars and toys and things like that, and it wasn't. I was 12 years old the first time I remember telling myself, God, and I used to have to sleep on these box spring mattresses and these porches. They're called lanais in Hawaii, and we just didn't have any money. We were moving every few months, and so it was tough. But I think my earliest memory was 12 years old, basically just thinking. And at that point, I was mowing lawns and doing work after school and different types of odd jobs and things like that. But I remember thinking to myself, God, someday I'm going to be a millionaire, and someday, I don't want to have my kids basically have to, grow up this way, where they had no sense of stability at all. And, there was this one place that we lived one time. It was in a bad neighborhood. Most of the neighborhoods we lived in weren't that great. And it was a duplex, and the neighbor he was a Coke dealer, and my brother and I had to sleep on this porch, this screened-in porch, and my brother was younger than I was, but I would wake up. I remember waking up in the middle of the night with this guy. He would be, partying in the middle of the night, doing stuff or whatever, but he would sit out there at 2, 3 in the morning outside of my screen porch, and he'd be talking in a really low voice, and he'd say, I'm going to cut your throat in the middle of the night, and I'm going to, he would just be like talking this really stuff, and you can imagine being a little kid, just waking up and just froze and hearing that. And so that was just a little bit of sort of, my world growing up. And, I went to school barefoot when I was a kid. And I got, basically beat up and chased by huge Samoans. And many days walked home from school several miles barefoot, trying to, avoid they actually had, if you're familiar with Hawaii, they have this thing called Pound Haole Day, and so Pound Haole Day was always a fun day. Haole is a white person, so if you're I don't want to get too down the rabbit hole politically speaking, but so my upbringing definitely developed a strong desire for independence and radical personal responsibility, and a strong desire to find some stability in life, and certainly success, and to create wealth. I was fortunate enough to have a mentor when I was young. Through some martial arts training that I had at 12 years old, started, and my instructor was a multimillionaire, and I didn't. It took me a little while to learn this, but he taught me he taught me early on, and he said the number one key to wealth is to get your money working for you instead of you working for your money. And I wrote that down, and I thought, man, that's I got it. I got the answer. I thought I had it. God, I have this multimillionaire, and he's telling me the key to wealth, and so I thought, God, this is great. But then trying to actually figure out how to do that is a different story. So we can know things here. We can hear all these great sounding sayings. And there's a lot of books and a lot of quote gurus and experts out there, and they'll say all these great sounding things, and we'll write those things down. We'll just be so motivated. Oh God, that's it, man! I got it. I got the key. And then we walk away and we're like, now what? What do I do? And so years and years of being an entrepreneur, being a business owner, being a product developer and a marketing person, and went on to build huge success with my wife and partner, Danny Johnson, who most of you know. But along that path, I was still basically trying to figure out the money game, because you can be very successful, you can make a lot of money, you can build a business and have a successful business and still not actually build any wealth, and still basically be a slave to money. And so this book, it's the it was a 4-year project, and a lot of thought went into it, as any person who takes authoring a book seriously does. There's a lot of books out there now because it's easier than it used to be to be able to write, but most people, when they write, they're trying to put some effort into it. It's not an easy thing to do. And I've been teaching people this formula for years, and also testing it myself. I'm a huge believer in trial by fire and stress testing. And so I'm constantly stress testing this system personally. And so so over the years, like a riddle that needed to be solved, that seed was planted in my mind and in my heart, and through a lot of trial and a lot of error and a lot of stress testing, I think we've kind of cracked the code here, if I could be so bold as to say such a thing. And I do say that lightly, because anytime you're talking about money or finance or investing, it's really easy to get humbled really quick. But this book outlines the whole system. And what I found for me personally, through just years and years of this stuff, was that there's a lot of information out there, like tons of it. It never ends. And the problem is that you get more and more information, more and more opinions, more and more really great speakers and great sounding people. I had some comments recently. Maybe I'll tell you about them here in a little bit. But you hear more and more from great sounding people and good speakers, and they got all the words, and they write these amazing books. And you get all this information about money, business, success, wealth, investing, whatever, and you never walk away with the system. You just walk away with more ideas. You walk away with more information. You walk away with motivation, but you don't actually have a strategy or a system. And or you learn something about stocks, or you learn something about real estate, or you get excited about cryptocurrencies, or any number of things out there. And but that's not a wealth building system. That's something that is a specific market. And this book talks about that. It teaches you about markets. All markets boom and bust. And so what happens is we get caught in this cycle of chasing what I call investment tips. And the tips are those great ideas that we love. They sound good. They get us excited. It's the ads that you see on Facebook when you click that ad and it says, hey, make money in real estate, or, whatever. If you're on the internet, when you're driving on the radio, the ads that you hear are always about, gold. Gold is a better way. This is this classic ad that I hear all the time. Well, right now, gold is in a bull market. It's increasing. But it doesn't always do that, and you can take any amount of statistics, any charts. I can take any chart and I can manipulate that chart and manipulate the denominator and the denominator and the time range, and I can make that chart look almost anything that I want it to look. And so it's and I can show you, I can draw you a line, and I can say, look, if you would have bought here and then done this and done that, you would have made 300%, or you would have made this or that or whatever. And literally, I can create any kind of a story and put that into an advertisement, or a visual, or an audio advertisement, or a video sales letter, or basically anything. And tell you this incredible thing. I can basically tell you about. I can give you all the successes, and leave out the mistakes, leave out the failures, and create this incredible picture, and get you excited and get you pumped up and make you think that and if you just buy this, then you'll have it. And people do this. They sign up. They go to seminars for real estate, whatever. All the stuff that's out there. And what happens is you get hooked, and you get sucked into this thing, because the marketing's really good, and it gets you excited, and it hits those dopamine, gives you that dopamine hit. You're thinking about money, you're thinking about winning, you're thinking about sounding cool, looking cool, and but at the end of the day, and this is what I had to learn through years and years of experience, is that you can win once, you can win twice, you can win 3 times, but ultimately what ends up happening is you could actually, and it doesn't matter what market, it doesn't matter what your thing is, man. It could be business, it could be real estate, it could be, again, stocks, bonds, cryptocurrencies, it could be precious metals, it could be all kinds of stuff. And you can have a lot of wins, but it just takes one bad mistake, one bad loss to totally wipe that out. And so what happens in the cycle is that people, what happens is they lever up. They add more and more leverage. They do bigger and bigger deals, because why? If you're a business person, okay, and if you have been successful in your life, the way that you create success in your life is by developing a set of skill sets. And somewhere in that set of skill sets, somewhere in your life, you've been taught that winners never give up, that persistence is the key to success, that you've been taught these things that are related to success. But what I found is that when it comes to managing money, when it comes to investing, when it comes to the most successful investors in the world, the most successful investors, the most successful money managers, the most successful traders, they're not focused on gains. They're not focused on winning. What they're focused on is risk management and managing risk. And the number one differentiator, and this book outlines this. It's a full system, but the number one differentiator between the masses, and the masses boom and bust. All markets boom and bust, and regular people, every time the markets cycle like they are right now, is they go bust. And at the top of the markets, people say, oh, you can never lose money in real estate. Oh, the stock market only goes up because the Fed is, just don't fight the Fed, And we have all these sayings that come about as a result of whatever the most recent market is. And sure enough, every 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 years, these things go bust and people get wiped out. And your elites, your people that operate at these really high levels, they understand this. And so the big differentiator is that the professionals focus on risk management and the amateurs focus on gains. And this is a radical different philosophy than what you probably have been taught or what you've learned through being successful in business or, as an employee or whatever. So anyway, that's a little bit of a summary, background on the book. I know a lot of people have started receiving it. Amazon has started shipping, and which is fantastic. I've gotten people posting images of the book that they got. Some are still waiting, and that's why we recommended that you get the Kindle version too. You get that Kindle version, you can start reading it right away, but you definitely want to get the paperback so you can get that out with a highlighter and highlight it. And the one thing that I'll tell you, and I've been scanning, I took a couple days off this week just to kind of regroup from the last week, which is crazy. And I was reading some of the comments and some emails. I sent out some emails and got some very colorful comments back. One email on Sunday that I sent out was, hey, it's time to crap or get off the plot, basically, and the reason why I did that is because we put out this crazy offer to match dollar for dollar every gross dollar that the book through Amazon, we're doing a donation to King's Ransom to help kids who've been victims of sex trafficking. And so I got pretty aggressive last week at pushing that out there. And had some, had a little fun with that. I said, hey, try to make me go bankrupt. I have a funny story to tell you about that, actually. I hope I don't embarrass this person by telling this story, but you might have actually, I won't say their name, but you might have actually thought the same thing. Hopefully I'll remember and get to it here. But anyway, so I got a lot of good feedback from that email. People got really kind of bent out of shape. They're like, hey, you're being a jerk, or I mean, they said worse things than that. And so that was fun. Just sort of kind of like getting people's looking at what people are. And one thing I'll tell you this too, if you have a business, and this is no offense to people that got offended by that email, part of sometimes when you're marketing and you have a strong message and you believe in it, and I believe in this message. We have clients that have literally been saved as a result of this system, as a result of True Wealth Formula. They've been literally able to sidestep this chaos that's gone on as a result of crazy Corona. So I have a couple comments I want to make on that here in a little bit. I want to give you my latest thoughts on where that's at and what I think your best play is right now. So anyway, when you have something that you believe in, that helps, and that it works, and that it's been stress tested, not just in good times, but in bad times, and frankly, this system and this formula, and this isn't just good sounding stuff. This is an actual formula. It's actual mathematics. Okay, it's not physics. It's not hard math. It's math that you've learned in the 3rd and 4th and 5th grade. But because of the crazy world that we're in and the way this world likes to overcomplicate things, we've all become these really smart idiots walking around in this world. We like to have the answers to everything, and we pride ourselves on being smart. And I see it all the time through different mediums and formats. People will pipe up and get real smart. They have these fancy degrees and all this kind of stuff. And and that's fine if you have that. That's great. I didn't go to college. I learned from just School of Hard Knocks, and not all education is the same. Different education is learned in different ways. And so, we're a society today that basically likes to have the right answer, and it makes us feel good to learn information and to know an answer to a question. And we seek out those answers to questions. We ask people in order that we can get an answer. And yet, we don't have the results in our life, And so the answer to the question and the information and the feeling of sounding smart and looking smart and having the right answer is sort of like it's like a placeholder or an offset for the results, And this isn't a conscious thing. You've probably not put any thought into this, unless somebody brought it to your awareness or whatever. But just keep an eye. Just think about it. This is the way the world is today, and so we have to basically. And I've put out this message before. You can either be rich or you can be right. You can be right or you can be rich, or you can be right or you can make money, or you can be right or you can create wealth. And a lot of people just want to be right. They just want to have the right answers. And so, and we've all been, victim of that. But, so it's interesting to me that people can sometimes focus on having the right answers, but not getting the result. And so this system, True Wealth Formula, there's some people that are too smart for this, they'll ask too smart of questions, and they're too smart for their own good. I've had some really, really smart clients. Sometimes the smart ones, the smarter people, have a harder time with it because they just go, "Oh God, this is too simple." This can't be. It's got to be something else. It's got to be something more than this. Sometimes I have to tell people, you're probably you're too smart. You need to dial it down a little bit. And one thing I've known, I've done business with multimillionaires. I've done business with billionaires. And the one thing I can tell you is that the most successful people in the world have a number of different habits, but one of them is that they've learned that one of the greatest keys to success is to not have to live in a place of openness. And in some philosophies you would call it emptiness. And in a place of non-judgment, because that's where you can learn. And there's, and so it's amazing to me, and I saw this with some of the responses, that some of the most judgmental people are some of the most miserable people without results in their lives. And so, so if you're new and you're being introduced to the concepts that are in this book, I know I didn't get my my Facebook video right, so you're looking at the title backwards. I don't know why the Facebook Live does that. It's so annoying. But if you're just now being introduced to the True Wealth Formula, and if you're just now seeing me on video for the first time, I'm not a good speaker. I'm not a college educated person. I'm a private business owner and a private investor. I grew up on the streets of Hawaii. I say and all kinds of other things when in these videos and when I talk, way more than I should. I use language that I shouldn't use. I break a lot of rules. But the thing I got to tell you at the very end of that is, what kind of results do you want to get? Do you want to major in the minors throughout your life, or do you want to learn a proven system that will simplify your life, that will give you more freedom, security, and fulfillment in your life, that will help you to master money and live free and build a legacy, right? Because you have a choice. You have a choice to focus on the small things or you have a choice to learn something and apply it and get good at it and master it at a level that is beyond anything you probably could have ever imagined in your life. If you didn't grow, if you're like me and you didn't grow up, now some of you this may not apply, but if you didn't grow up in some elite family, right, where you already had those advantages of the right kind of education and culture about money, and business and some of these things. Because there's nobody in my family line that had success. Okay, not at all. So I don't know what your background is, but I know most people probably like me. You know, you might be educated, you might be this, you might be that, you might have a good paying job, you may even be a successful entrepreneur that's made millions of dollars. But you might not be where you want to be. You might be struggling right now with the economy and the impact that's going on right now. And, I've said this in my other videos, that if the economy just a month and a half ago was the strongest economy in the last 50 years, okay, and the stock market was the longest running bull market, right, in history, okay, strongest economy in 50 years, and then literally a month and a half later, people are hurting. And I'm not saying, I know there's a lot of hurting out there and they're struggling and this is a tough time right now, okay? But you cannot go, you have to think about this, and this is a very harsh thing to say. And if this hurts, if this statement hurts, then I would encourage you, I would say, you know what, the thing I'm going to tell you, now first let me just tell you the statement. You can't go from the strongest economy in 50 years and the longest running bull market in history to then 6 weeks later be hurting financially. You can't do that. The only way that can happen is if your money system and your money philosophy is in error. Okay? And this is where this is where the rubber meets the road. A lot of people don't want to hear this. And better people that are better speakers and more polished and care more about putting off the right presentation and never offending people will never say this to you. Okay? But the thing I'm going to tell you is that you can either buy into this situation that's going on right now, right? And you can keep doing what you're doing and keep being a victim of this cycle that keeps happening. You say, well, God, nobody expected this coronavirus to do what it did, and the governments are overreacting and they're implementing the wrong policies, and they're not putting policies in place based off of science, and the data can't be trusted, and this thing was a bioweapon, and this thing was no, Hans, it's really just the flu. Literally, I've been following this thing since December. We started letting our clients know back in January. You can't, if you like being in that situation and you like being a victim at the tail end of the way these markets cycle and the way that this system and the direction it's going in, then you can continue to hold that philosophy. And you can say, no, this time's different. And what I will tell you straight out is that, no, this time is not different. We are in a different cycle right now. We're not in a 10-year cycle. We're in a 100-year cycle, minimum 100-year cycle right now. So this, the concepts and the system and the formulas in this system will put you in a position of strength, mentally, spiritually, and financially, so that when this kind of chaos happens in the world, like what's going on right now, you're in a position of strength. You're in a position where you actually benefit from it. Okay? Where you actually gain ground while the chaos is going down all around you. Okay? So for those of you that just picked up the book and this is your first sort of video or introduction or whatever, congratulations. For those of you that have been spreading the word and getting this word out, you guys are amazing. You're welcome to share this video right now or when we post it. TrueWealthFormula.com is our website. The book is available at Amazon. Amazon.com. I got my cards out still. See, aren't these professional? Okay, Amazon.com, and then you want to go to TrueWealthFormula.com and register on that site. We'll give you some free videos, and then we do have an implementation program for those of you that are more serious and you want to learn how to actually apply what's in this book and be part of a private community that is focused, that takes you step by step by step by step how to set this up. Actually do what's in the book. We have an implementation program. You can get that information at truewealthformula.com/special offer, and you get information on that. It's an annual subscription. It's less than a really terrible cup of coffee per day, so it's not expensive, and it helps people execute this formula. The biggest part of this is that you can know the information, but knowing it's not enough, because there's this part called human nature that will sabotage us constantly when it comes to money. And that's why we say how to master money and live free. Mastering money doesn't just mean that it's not about the amount of money. It's about your relationship with money. And you were never, from this day till the day you die, you will never not be in some kind of relationship with money. You may hate money. You may say, God, I wish the money was just not part of this world, and we wouldn't have this material world that we have. And I wish that life could just be, well, if it wasn't money, as you know it, the US dollar or the Aussie dollar or the Canadian dollar or British pound or the euro or whatever. If it wasn't that, it would be something else. If it's not money, it's gold or silver or seashells or freaking some other thing. Okay, money is simply a medium of exchange, and it's just a representation of resources. Okay, so this book breaks it down, and it tells you how to position yourself. It gives you the code, and it's the result of 2 decades. I did want to talk a little bit about, if you have the book and you've already started it and you haven't put your review on Amazon, please do that, man. I've been reading those reviews and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. One of my favorites on there is somebody said, man, I just started reading this book, and they said, I've read everything under the sun, and I'm paraphrasing, obviously. I can't remember all the the exact, but I just started reading this book, and I already got one little thing that I'm implementing, and it's going to change my numbers like radically. We have an app, Wealth Builder. You can get it it's a 5-star rated app at Apple, at the Apple App Store and Google Play. You can also access it at wealthbuilder.io, and the app has proprietary calculators that sync up with this system, and the app is also how we deliver our implementation program training through the app. So we're actually taking this system and we're building it into the app, and I'm super pumped about that. There's going to be some cool updates that we're going to be doing in the near future. Couple things. So first of all, I appreciate you guys. Before I forget, we're still waiting. We're starting to get some numbers now from Amazon on the sales. So I put out this crazy offer last week. I said, hey, help me go bankrupt trying to help these kids that have been victims. And I had this one person said, hey, I don't understand. It doesn't make sense to me. How can a multimillionaire who's an author of this book, how can you go bankrupt? Helping, just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up, And I kind of laughed. I chuckled a little bit at the question. It's a good question, and maybe you thought of it as well. But this is I kind of chuckled a little bit, and yeah, it's a crazy offer. We put it out there to generate some excitement and just for a good cause. You can go back and you can listen to those videos if you haven't heard them, and just to have some fun. And we are going to make that donation, and I'm excited about doing that. I hope it. But here's the fact of the matter is that, and yes, we don't have the total stats yet. They're still coming in from Amazon, so we'll definitely give you an update and keep you posted, when that happens. But right now, I don't know if I'm bankrupt or not. I still don't know. It's possible. But to answer the question. it's really quite simple. Okay, it's really simple math, right? I put out there this crazy offer. I said that we're going to take the gross sales numbers from Amazon, okay, and I'm going to match that as a donation to kingsransom.org to help kids that have been victims of sex trafficking, okay? And I put this challenge out there. I said, hey, let's put up or shut up. I'm going to put my money where your mouth is. Get a copy of the book and get some extra copies for friends and family. You can use it for your business as gifts, or for lead generation, or for clients or business associates, whatever, right? Attach your business card, do stuff. And we get less than 50% of those gross sales from Amazon. So just think about this, okay? It's just simple math. Okay, just think about this. Okay, hypothetically, you could sell so many copies of the books. If you have somebody, and it is an open-ended offer, I have no idea how many books, how many copies are sold. I still don't know. I still have no idea. We hit number one like right out of the gate on multiple different lists, bestseller lists. I have no idea how many copies sold because of COVID and all this stuff. Amazon, they're still trying to get shipments out, and their stats are all funky and wonky, and I have no idea, okay? So, but I put out this open-ended offer. Now, if you're a business person, you understand this. Just so happens, I'm not going to disparage the comment. It is a question. Maybe you had it. But if you think about it a little bit, it'll make perfect sense. But you have to think a little bit. Okay, so if you're a business person, okay, so I put out an open-ended commitment to match dollar for dollar a gross dollar amount, okay, of book sales when we're only receiving less than 50%. So think about that. Can any business person, I don't care how many millions or billions of dollars that you have, if you just think about this, right? If you're taking in a gross sales amount, but you have costs, right? But now you're saying I'm going to take 100% of the gross amount, right? How long can you do that before you go bankrupt? Okay, so the answer is yes, it's possible. Okay, this is a simple lesson in very basic math. Okay, and so yes, it is possible. So I could be bankrupt right now. It's quite possible. I don't know if I am, and I don't know when I'll know. It's a really strange feeling. Okay, but hey, it's kind of fun actually. If we do it, and I said if I'm going to people go bankrupt all the time. They go bankrupt for spending too much money, making for gambling, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. If I'm going to go bankrupt, we're going to do it for a good cause. So it could happen, but yeah, I don't think I am. I hope that we're at least going to give a 6-figure donation. But we put the skin in the game and said, hey, we're going to go all out, man. If you guys can get this book out there and spread the word, we'll do it. Okay. So I hope that answers. If you had that question, if you thought that was just if you thought I don't believe this doesn't make sense, well, sure it does. Can you sell? Can you do gross? If you have the best selling product, hypothetical now, okay, you have some product that you created, and you're going to sell, 1 million units of this product at $10 a piece, and you have costs, right? And you get less than 50% in your pocket, but you're going to take all the gross and you're going to give it away. Yes, okay, because what you're doing is you're dipping into your personal balance sheet in order to meet that obligation. Okay, so yeah, it can happen. Okay, not fun with that. All right, so today's May 1st, and it's sort of like the grand opening of America. It's like going out of business sale. Oh, grand opening. The funniest part about it. We have to have fun with this, guys. I know there's a lot of bad news and bad stuff that's going on out there, and we take that seriously. But you have to have a little bit of fun with things. So like furniture businesses are the classic ones, right? Like you see, there's some towns and some cities, and the sign is always one of two things: going out of business sale, and then it might be a different business or a different name, or they'll say grand opening. So I kind of thought that was sort of funny, but you know, so May 1st is where a lot of the states here in the U.S. and different countries doing their own thing. And frankly, different states are doing their own thing, but it's like, you know, the reopening, the rebooting of the economy. And I've been saying since the very beginning, regardless of what COVID is, and the data is a big clusterfest, and unfortunately, it's massively politicized. You can't trust anything. And regardless of whether it's somewhere between the flu and a bioweapon, I happen to think it's much more, you know, that this thing came out of a lab. We saw that. We saw those reports all the way back in January, and you know, now people are talking about it and whatever. But who knows? How do you validate it? You know, how do you prove anything nowadays? Okay, I would encourage you to. We did a whole series of videos, how to survive the coronavirus and the coming global depression. I would make sure you've watched those videos. And the last one that I said was that this economic situation is not going to resolve anytime soon, and I told you exactly why in that. Now, if you understand TWF and you understand me, TWF is not based on making predictions, and I would refer you to my prior videos, okay? And you'll say, well, Hans, you've been making a lot of predictions lately. Actually, no, I'm not. I mean, yes, I'm saying what I think might happen, but I don't invest. That's not what this system is. And this is the big error in all of the modern financial planning, the modern this and that is, and this is because of human nature and the way we think is that we try to be right. So we want someone to give us a prediction and to tell us what's going to happen so that we can put our trust and our faith in that person, what they said, okay? And you do this, I do this, okay? So, but if you paid attention and you got one of my recent videos, it was the last couple videos. You have to go through them. You're the one that you have to put the time in. You know, you can't expect somebody to just, like, you have to put the time into learning this stuff, right? And again, I'll just say, you know, when in your life are you not going to deal with this issue, right? I mean, there's never going to be a time in your life when money is not going to be a situation, okay? And is now in this point in history, is this a time where you know, you shouldn't really get on it and get this? You know, we're in a massive transitional time in history right now, right? Like if there haven't been prior things that have been the wake-up call, hopefully what's going on right now is that wake-up call, right? You know, look at technology, right? The tech companies and people that had technical skills and could work from home, they weren't as impacted as people that have not yet adapted to the new economy that we're in. This trend is a mega trend that's been in play for a really long time. And so, you know, and this is not a new thing in history. Throughout history, this kind of stuff happens, you know? And so the deal is, are you going to adapt? Are you going to learn? Or are you going to be a victim of this tectonic mega trend shift that's going on? You know, so we talk about that in this book. You know, how to spot those trends, how to position yourself, the whole thing. But so I've talked about in these videos that what we do is we focus on risk management, and the essence of that is as simple as I can make it, and you can get crazy with it. There's quant mathematics guys and stuff that it's crazy land. But the very essence and in its most simplest term and phrase is instead of trying to be right, which is what you've been programmed to do your whole life, okay? And hopefully some of you are starting to get this. It takes a little while to get this reprogramming, okay? Our implementation program, we pound on this throughout our whole implementation program. If you're not in our TWF implementation program, and if any of this is resonating with you, if you already started working through the book, you got to get in that, because it's going to help you actually execute this stuff, right? TrueWealthFormula.com TWF.com/special offer. TrueWealthFormula.com/special offer. It's going to teach you how to execute it, how to master it, okay? How to get in this game and play it to win, right? This game is on. This game ain't ever going away, you know? And so it's just an issue of, do you want to learn how to play it to win or not, you know? And it's not going to get any easier. I promise you it's not going to get any easier. So instead of positioning your life and your money to be right, what you do is you learn what you do is you switch it and you flip it. And this is the mindset of your highest level professional investors, speculators, traders, asset managers, corporate balance sheet managers, okay? And it's not focused on being right. It's focused on, what if I'm wrong? Simple, very simple question. What if I'm wrong? Okay? So yes, I have put myself out there recently, and I've said, hey, here's what I think is the trend is, and here's what I'm seeing, okay? But you have to understand that part of why this system sets us up to do so well in these type of environments is because of that type of thinking. It is core to TWF. Core to TWF is asking ourselves, what if I'm wrong? And then on the flip side of that, how do I be right even if I'm wrong? Okay, and so this is gangster style thinking. Okay, this has not come natural because you have not been programmed to think this way. I have not been programmed to think this way. It's taken me many years. Right, this book and this system and our implementation program gives you the shortcuts. It teaches you how to do that, and more importantly, it teaches you how to set your money up through formulas, and to basically be right even if you're wrong, okay? So in the last video, I talked about how that this economic situation, even if COVID turned out to be a complete scam, even if it turned out that it is some other thing, whatever, all the stuff that you believe and you've been hearing, oh, COVID's part of G5, G5 build out, and it's part of this, and it's that, and whatever. All the stuff that you've, and I'm not saying I disagree with any of that kind of stuff, but all I'm saying is you can't validate any of it. You can't prove or validate any of it. So what you're doing is you're putting your life, your job, your business, okay? You're putting your life, your family's health and security and your investments and everything you've worked for, your entire life, you're putting in trust. Okay, just get this here for a second. You're putting your whole everything, your whole world, your whole everything in trust on some person, okay, some system, whether it's your government, the CDC, the WHO, some dude that popped off a video on YouTube talking about 5G or this or that or whatever. You're putting all of that, okay, your whole world in trusting that person's telling you the truth, okay? And here's the problem. And I'm not saying that they're lying to you. The problem is, and what I'm telling you is, you can't validate any of it. We live in a world that is a cluster fest of information and data and freaking TMI, and it's all hyper politicized. Okay, these freaking experts can't keep their story straight from one day to the next. Just track them. I don't care if it's your beloved. Look. Okay, when it comes to money, let me just tell you guys this, okay? We all have some of you are getting angry right now. I'm sorry if I'm making you upset, okay? Right? We all have our political leanings and our viewpoints and our spiritual this and that, okay? When it comes to managing money, money has to be managed you have to be literally agnostic about money, okay? You have to learn to manage money and deal with what's real, not what you want it to be, okay? So I don't care if it's your favorite politician. I don't care if you believe, whatever. You think the WHO is the trusted authority when it comes to a global pandemic. They freaking missed the boat on this thing. CDC, these guys have been changing their minds. They're all compromised. They sit on corporate boards, right? So then you defer to your independent people that are doing their own research, and and I've talked in prior videos how I filter information and how I get to a point of being able to make decisions. Okay, this system did very well during this market crash. Okay, and if you've been following the videos that I posted, and if you're in our TWF implementation program and you're in that group, I've been telling you my thoughts and where I think this is going. So basically, you already know the answer to this. You know it if you listen to your gut and you listen to your heart and you step away from the circus, right? That is there to entertain you and to feed you with information, and most importantly, to keep you trusting it. Because once you decide to say, okay, I really can't, and you don't have to do this in a way to, there's different ways to do this, but you have to kind of be pragmatic about it, and you have to say, look, this is the world, this is the state of where we're at, and if I cannot validate the data to be true, how then do I make decisions in today's world, right? That's best for me and my family and for my money and for my investments. How do you do that when you can't validate anything, right? So here's where things are at. So just in summary, get into the prior videos, get into our TWF formula implementation program, and it's going to give you this stuff and teach you how to do it. But in the last video, I talked about the economy is it's not like a car. You don't with the economy, we're talking about the global economy here, okay? You don't just turn the car key off, right? And then you go into the store, and then when and it's down, it's shut off, it's in lockdown, okay? And then you come out of the store and you turn that key, and boom, engine starts back up. You drive off, and everything's cool, right? That's not how the economy works. If you're a small business owner, you know this, okay? You just know this. Like, if you've had to lay people off, or if you've been hit hard out of this thing, that's a tough thing, So this thing's gonna roll, and right now everything's being turned back on, and it's the reopening. It's May 1st, and that's a good thing. The economy needs to get going, and I talked in the last video why I think it's gonna at least be log jammed until at least the next few months. So here's what I'll tell you right now as a tip. Again, as I've said from the beginning, I happily be wrong about all this stuff, okay? This is just my random thoughts and guess, and what I am doing personally, okay? So here's what's going to happen as a result of, oh, thank God. And you're seeing, the month of May, you're going to see an increase in political unrest. You're already seeing this in the state of Michigan. Okay, if you've been following that, you're going to see that increase. So plan accordingly. But as the quote economy gets rebooted and turned back on, and non-essential services get to start doing business again, and restaurants get to go to 25% capacity and then 50%, I think this thing's going to be a rolling situation. And it's going to get worse, and then it's going to get better, and then better again, and then worse and better, and the data's going to be this one week, and the next week it's going to be a different thing. One of my prior videos, I talked about why that is. Go back to that video, and you'll see there's 4 different things that they're managing throughout this whole situation. But here's my recommendation is that the natural thing that we all as humans want to do is when we have not been able to do something that we want to do, like go out and eat and live a quote normal life, is you're going to see a tendency, you're going to see an initial splurge, and you're going to see people, trying to hit restaurants. Now this is going to be in different parts. Some places it ain't going to happen. In China, they've reopened, but people still aren't going back to restaurants like they were and going out at night like they were. But you got to understand different cultures have different psychologies, okay? So, in America, you're seeing a big pushback right now. People saying, hey, this thing's a bunch of crap. I got to get back to work, you know, that kind of thing. Then you have this other problem where some people are getting paid more not to work than they do to work. So there's a lot of problems that are going on right now. And this is going to take quite a lot of time. So here's what I would say is that my feelings on this have not changed. I think that we are still far from out of the woods on this thing. I'll be happy to be wrong on it, but I do think that you have 30 million people unemployed right now in the U.S. Some of those will get rehired and such, but there's a lot of businesses right now that have been holding on, and they're going to try to get going again. There's a lot of businesses that aren't going to survive this. Okay, and they're not getting bailouts. They're the small businesses, right? They're not these big globalist corporations that can get their multi-billion-dollar bailouts and then give their CEOs multi-million-dollar bonuses for taking taxpayer money. So this thing is a long way from over, So what I would say is that it's prime time right now. Keep stacking cash. Keep doing the things that I've been recommending in these videos. Get yourself in our implementation program so that you can be in the loop and be building out this system for yourself and positioning yourself in a position of strength, not weakness, because you should be able to, if you understand this and you follow this system, you will actually take ground and hold it while things are in chaos, while things are crashing, okay? The stock market's starting to get, funky right now. Who knows what it's going to do? I've already said what I think the chances are that it's going to do, and so time will tell, with that. So what you want to be doing right now, and I get it. I get that there's a desire to there's that release, okay, of wanting to, economy got turned back on, get out there. And it's kind of patriotic to do that, and certainly supporting local businesses, small businesses. If you're in a position to do that, we should be doing that. But what I would say is that my belief is this thing's still got a long way to play out. You're still going to see a lot of defaults and bankruptcies and insolvency issues that happen in certain sectors of the economy. For political reasons alone, you got a huge political motivation to keep the wrenches, keep this log jammed up. And so just if COVID was cured tomorrow and there was no more fear of the disease and everything was fine, you have a huge political incentivization to keep it jammed up, okay? I talked about that in my last video. So what I'm saying is be aware and be cautious about your own natural urges to want to just after being in quote lockdown, okay, to just everything's okay, boom, and then just loosen it up, okay? What you need to do is you need to understand that this environment, this external environment that has created this pressure is a gift. It's a gift from the Creator to help give you that extra motivation that you need in your life right now to get your financial crap together and to get your systems in place, to hunker down, to tighten things up, okay? And it's a very natural thing because we want to say, hey, God, I guess we got out of this and it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be and it's going to be okay and oh, thank God, maybe it's going to be all right. Okay, that's what we want to do. And I'm not saying that you don't have that, but that we don't need that breather or that break. But what I am saying is be careful, be conscious, okay? If you're a wise person, just keep this in mind. A wise man sees danger and he hides himself from it, while the fool keeps on walking. What does that mean? A wise man he's got his head up. He's got situational awareness of his environment. He's looking at the long pattern of history, okay? He learns how to recognize patterns. He doesn't get all fooled by the one-off information here and there, chasing his tail all over the place, looking at the big picture, okay? And when he sees a pattern in play, He hides himself from it. What does that mean? He prepares. He prepares, okay? While the fool just keeps on going, says, I'm fine. I ain't gonna, everything's fine, okay? So there's a big difference in psychology. There's a big difference in spiritual maturity, okay, and strategy. And so what's important to me is for you and your family to not only survive this thing that's going on throughout the whole world, but to come out stronger than you were going in. To freaking take ground and hold it, okay? To never again, to make it a resolution to yourself while this is going on, that never again are you going to be caught flat-footed. Never again are you going to get sucker punched because you weren't paying attention to your environment. Never again are you going to financially basically be caught with your thumb in your freaking up your nose, right? And go from the best economy and all this stuff to then a few weeks later freaking struggling. Okay? That you will use this external environment and this situation to basically get it together, to hunker down. And I know this is a hard time, right? Some of you are struggling right now. But you know what? Your freaking ancestors have survived way worse than this right now. Way worse than this, okay? Our ancestors would look at us with our freaking $1,000 iPhones and all of our freaking sitting on our asses all day watching Netflix and all this kind of stuff, and they would laugh their butts off, right? They would look at you whining and crying about you can't go, can't do this, can't do that, or you're this, whatever, man, whatever the story is, however bad it is, and I'm not saying it's not bad, okay, but they would laugh at you, right? So I want you to think about that, and that's what you need to be thinking right now. If you're hurting or you're in pain or you have fear, right? All of this kind of stuff, you need to freaking hunker your ass down. You need to get your stuff together. Right? You need to get signed up in that implementation program, but you need to read this book, you need to implement this system, and you need to make a resolution to yourself right now that you are going to freaking come out of this thing stronger. You're going to come out of this thing a freaking bull, a beast, a lion. That you're not going to be the prey anymore that's getting whiplashed on the tail end of these markets that boom and bust and get freaking, nailed. That you're going to come out of this thing stronger. Okay? And so that's what I want for you and your family is I don't want you to just survive this, okay? So what I'm saying right now in this video, and we'll wrap it now, is that I want you to be careful. As things loosen up, and this is the position that I'm taking. I think that it's going to take 1 to 2 years minimum to see the full thing of this play out. And so you're going to see this thing roll. Going to be good then bad, good then bad. Okay. North Korea and Japan just went back into lockdowns again because they loosened up, and then things started to spike again. Okay. So you're going to see this thing roll, and I don't want you to be caught flat-footed because you get faked out. Okay? I'm not saying don't take that breather, and if your area is starting to loosen up, or if you go to the beach one weekend and then the next weekend your governor shuts it all down again, whatever, get outside, get fresh air, do all those things that are important for your health. But financially and mentally and spiritual, you got to be hunkering down. Don't let yourself be faked out by this thing right now, right? Take a breath. But hunker down, pick your head up, look around, fresh air, great, and get your butt back in gear and hunker down and do the plow. Do the hard plow now and exercise self-discipline right now. Get this system dialed in now, right? Because when there's going to be the opportunity that's going to happen out of this is going to be insane, right? If you like real estate, I think that the deals and the stuff that you're going to see a year from now is going to be way better than what you see right now today, right? Across the board. That's my thinking, but I've already positioned myself to be right even if I'm wrong on both sides of it, okay? All right? So, yes, I have an opinion. Yes, I see trends and I make decisions and stuff like that. But this system makes it so that when I win big. And when I lose small. Okay? So if you want to learn how to do that, then you definitely need to be looking at this book. I sent out a message recently about using a highlighter. Make sure you use a highlighter, and you know, this is not a book you read and you go, cool, that was a great book, man, you know, or whatever. Or if you think it sucks or whatever, let me know. I mean, whatever, man. But fortunately, we had amazing reviews, which I'm totally thankful for and humbled by, right? But this is not a book that you put in your library and you go, oh, cool, I read that book. That was some good information. If you do that, you missed it. You missed the whole point of it. If you caught this video and you see, oh my God, who is this crazy guy with the beard and talking about financial, like, and it says and does this, you know, half-assed, not even a nice, polished, pretty video. You know, and he says, all, you know, who is that? And now he's saying that this economy is this and that. And I guess that's what he said. I guess I should do what Hans says. If that's what you think, you don't understand TWF. You know, and I know that's a pretty hard thing to say. Okay? TWF, at the very core of it, is nobody's going to do for you what you aren't willing to do for yourself. This methodology, this mindset, this system, this method of thinking and managing our money is radical personal responsibility. This is the freaking code for you to take that formula and make it yours. Right? And I could go off right now and say some things that get people's freaking panties in a stretch, so I'm not going to go there. But if you're sick and tired of being a victim of the system, and you're tired of this, of the way it is, you know, so when you read this, you read it with the highlighter, and you freaking reread it, and you get in that implementation program so you can learn how to actually do this. What good is information if you don't do it? What is that? That's worthless. Information that you don't do anything with is worse. Worse. You're actually at a weaker and a more deficit position the more information you have in here that you are not translating into action that is moving you forward. Because you're stuffing your freaking brain. More information is making you poorer and poorer and poorer, not richer. This system is not about being smarter and having more information. So with that, I love you. I hope you're having a great day and you have an amazing weekend. And I'm so thankful for you guys. I appreciate you putting up with me and the way that I communicate and my intensity. I know it can be a little bit freaking crazy sometimes. If you have, and many of you are implementation program members, and if you haven't, I would seriously consider that at TWFformula.com/special offer. We'll be doing in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, we'll be doing another Q&A session with our private implementation program group, and we'll answer questions, and we do that once a month for our subscribers. But overall, I'm super thankful for you guys, all you guys that did reviews, and we will be updating you. We'll do another update, I assume, over time. We're going to get more and more data and more information from Amazon. And I just saw Amazon just discounted it even more. So you can get the book right now for like on the launch week, it was like, and the ebook's still super cheap. The price was supposed to go up on Monday, but I guess, I don't know if, I guess because it was a bestseller, they discount it and do stuff. You can actually get the book now for like $10.98 or some crazy weird thing like that. So, if you have a friend or a family member or somebody that didn't get a chance to pick it up, now's the time to tell them about it. Just go to Amazon, type in True Wealth Formula. Hans Johnson is the author, and you can pick up a copy. And other than that, I appreciate you guys. There's other things to talk about. Maybe I'll do another video next week with another update and drop some more ideas. But you got a few things in this one that I think if you take to heart, it is going to make a difference for you. Thank you guys. God bless. Have an amazing, awesome weekend. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much.